to this new video for my channel, The Mental Traveler. I'm Caro Herrera, and today I'm going to be reviewing Daniel Craig James Bond films. These are their names: Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace, Skyfall, Spectre, and No Time to Die. And the reason I'm going to be talking about this movie is because Craig is my favorite Bond. And after having seen No Time to Die twice, where I bawled my eyes out, I felt like I had to do something to honor his performance. And this is a way in which I can do it. Before I begin though, let me just say that this will be a review with spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movies, beware. Okay, so growing up in a family of movie lovers, I have memories of watching all the 80s and 90s Batman movies when I was a kid. And when I was a teenager, I saw all of the James Bond films up until then. And while I haven't seen many of those in like over a decade now, which means my memory can be a bit faulty, I think that those films, and in a way the old Batman movies, which is why I'm sort of starting to mention them a lot here, were more comical and lighthearted takes on these stories. But then with Daniel Craig's James Bond films and Christian Bale's The Dark Knight movies, we get to explore these characters as anti-heroes. And thus I think they turn out to be more relatable, because they are presented as complex human beings with both good and bad in them. And so are the villains they are fighting against. And as a movie lover and an aspiring writer and an avid bibliophile, I just love characters that present that challenge. Those that are grey rather than black or white, and whom I care for even though they do fantastic or horrible things. And if I had to choose, I would think I would rather have Daniel Craig's Bond than Christian Bale's Batman, because I do prefer that character in those movies. So yeah, overall I prefer this more modern interpretations of this beloved, cherished characters, because I think they're more iconic to the more suave and light-hearted heroic representations we'd seen earlier. Anyway, just one more quick thing. I can't remember if I saw Casino Royale in the cinema when it first came out or not, but I do remember that I've always loved Vesper Lynd, and I think she's like the greatest Bond girl ever, even though there is now controversy about using that term, Bond girl. So instead I'll say Bond's romantic interest. But I also do recall that I saw Quantum of Solace in the cinema and I really enjoyed it, although I think it's the weakest movie of Daniel Craig's performances as Bond. But I was quite enraptured with it when it first came out. And then of course Skyfall had Adele's song and all of these great settings and plot twists and Bardem and Ray Fiennes. And then Spectre was nice and respectable. I remember thinking that it was okay if this was Daniel Craig's last Bond film, but then No Time to Die came out, and I just felt so hard for 007 and for his story. I mean, I started crying the moment the opening credits appeared on the screen the first time I was hearing the Billie Eilish theme song, and I didn't stop crying until the end. And while I think it was very daring of them to kill off Bond and give him a child, I also applaud them for their nerve, because I think it worked out, in my opinion. At the beginning of the story, James Bond is a British MI6 agent who has recently been assigned 00 status, which means that he has a license to kill. His number is 007, and throughout all the films we see him fighting enemies of England, falling in love, having his heart broken, breaking some hearts himself, suffer from PTSD, lose loved ones, travel, perfect his physical combat skills, and so much more. As the story progresses, a lot of loose ends are explained, because even as the story deepens, we start to see how everything is connected, and how something from the first film is relevant in the last one, for example. Okay, so this is my order of favorite films. First, it's Casino Royale. I think it's the best movie of all the series. Followed by No Time to Die, then there's Skyfall, then Spectre, and then Quantum of Solace. I would also like to mention right now that I also saw this documentary called Being James Bond, where I was surprised to learn that everyone was mad that Daniel Craig had been cast as James Bond. And I was too young to remember that controversy, but I couldn't stop smiling because I knew what was gonna happen and how everyone was gonna love him and miss him now that he's gone. So I did cry because I was happy for Daniel. I really like Sean Connery's version because he's like the most iconic. And Roger Moore was just so charming, and I've seen all of his films and really enjoy them. I've always had a major crush on Timothy Dalton, so I like him in everything he does. And I honestly don't care that much for Pierce Brosnan. I mean, he seems like a great person and he's really hot, but I don't think he's that great of an actor. And I actually remember the villains in his films, like Sean Bean, Sophie Marceau. I actually remember them more than I remember Pierce Brosnan's performance as Bond. And talking about castings, I would like to say that I didn't really like Rami Malek as a Bond villain. I know he's like 40 years old, but he honestly looks way younger in my opinion. And I mean, it just frustrated me that at the start of No Time to Die, and then like 20 years later, he's appeared the same even though so much time has passed. So I would have loved to see a more mature and older villain to say farewell Craig's Bond. And all the previous villains were great, except maybe for Green in Quantum of Solace. And then as to the woman in the James Bond films, As I said, Eva Green is my favorite one, but Lea Seydoux is pretty fascinating too. And I really liked Madeline because she brought out the best in Bond. Ana de Armas was a very cute agent whom I wish had appeared longer. And as to the others, they weren't that memorable, not even Monica Bellucci because she unfortunately didn't have that much time on screen. But yeah, I just love Naomi Harris as Moneypenny, Judi Dench and Ray Fiennes as M, and Ben Whishaw as Q. And I'm really going to miss this family. Whenever I end up rewatching all the previous James Bond films, I might just review them. But until then, I believe that this is all I have to say about this particular franchise. Thank you so much for watching my review of them. Please let me know if you enjoyed the video or not, as well as what are your own thoughts regarding James Bond films, all of the other James Bonds that came before him, anything that's relevant, because I would love to talk about it all with you. And also, who would you like to be the next James Bond? I think that Idris Elba would be fantastic, or Michael Fassbender, maybe Tom Hiddleston, but I really hope it's not Nomi because I didn't care for her character one bit. And I would love it that James Bond remains a man, because I think women could have new and just interesting and complex characters made for them. They don't have to step into the shoes of a man, they can create their own path. But yeah, anyways, in the description box below you can find a link to the IMDb pages for all the Daniel Craig James Bond films. And well, I'm Caro Herrera, the Mental Traveler, and I hope you have a wonderful day wherever you are in the world. I'll be seeing you soon. Take care and goodbye.